Some very interesting news came out today, and it muddies the water a little bit further between the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5. This is one of the main things that Xbox had going for it in terms of having something that was actually out there that could do above and beyond what the PlayStation 5 could do. Now, unfortunately, not a lot of people were able to actually take advantage of this technology, but now that Sony has the technology and will be getting this update to include this technology, it looks like things are going to be even closer than they already were. We already had people at Digital Foundry mention that the Xbox Series X maybe didn't win with their silicone gamble from Microsoft in terms of having a more powerful console, and that there's a lot more to the video game consoles themselves than the actual silicone and the T-flops and things like that. Us as fans are pretty ignorant on the subject when it comes down to it, and I'm not putting anybody down. That's just the fact of technology. That's just the fact of these closed boxes, and that's just the fact of none of us actually having worked on any of these boxes. And so it's just one of those things that happens. We don't really know what we're talking about. We can give an idea and give our opinion, but the fact that none of us have worked on games for the most part, none of us have worked on consoles, and we're not engineers and things like that, we can't really say what's going to happen. We can just trust what developers say and what these companies are saying, and sometimes that works out, sometimes it doesn't. I have always stated that the Xbox Series X and the PS5 are pretty similar, and that they would be pretty close in what they've produced, and so far that's been 100% accurate. But like I said, this is going to be a very interesting topic, and I'm sure that a lot of people are going to want to discuss what I'm going to talk about here. So, hey there everyone, I'm the Crapgamer, and of course this is Crapgamer Reviews, your home for gaming news, opinions, reviews, and much more. You'll probably notice a few changes around here, and hopefully that doesn't stop you from giving us a like, and possibly even consider subscribing if you haven't already done so. Thank you so much for choosing to spend some of your free time with me today. It really does mean a lot. You guys have been absolutely amazing, and like I said, a simple like if you enjoy the content, that's all I ask for, and I really do feel like you all are fantastic folks, and it means the world to me that you guys are chosen to support me and things like that. So thank you guys very much. Now, on to what's going on, and I tell you what, this is very cool stuff, and I'm impressed by it, but you just get the feeling that Sony's going to get a lot of this credit. And listen, credit to them. They've put out an amazing group of consoles and games lately, but don't you guys get the feeling that sometimes it does happen that they get a little bit too much credit for things that Microsoft has already done? And one of the reasons that I talk about this, and this is something that even happened years ago, you guys remember the Xbox Series S, or excuse me, the Xbox One S. Look how confusing that is, Microsoft. Man, you're even confusing your own fans. Anyway, the Xbox One S was announced, and they had announced like HDR implementation, right? And then later the PS4 Pro was announced, and that was announced to have HDR, and a lot of sites ran with Sony brings HDR to consoles first, when the actual thing is the One S was the first to do that. So a lot of these places and people want to give Sony credit, maybe where it's not even due, but just because Sony has been around for a longer amount of time. But one of the main talking points that a lot of Xbox fans have been talking about has been the addition of VRR, right? And this is something that Sony hasn't been able to match. And we've seen some things from Digital Foundry kind of do the comparison and say, oh, well, this has really helped the Xbox along the way, and now we're going to be able to see that with the PlayStation 5. So, according to this, PlayStation 5 to get VRR support immediately or eminently with a new firmware update. Now, the PlayStation 5 console will be getting VRR support via firmware update according to this new report. In a new video shared on the HDTV Test YouTube channel, Vincent Teo reported that the new Sony TVs launching this spring, such as the A90K, will support VRR at launch, coinciding with the imminent arrival of VRR support on the PlayStation 5 via firmware upgrade. Sony itself confirmed shortly after the console's release last year that the PlayStation 5 hardware supports variable refresh rate through HDMI 2.1, but it will only be possible to use the feature after a future firmware update. Now, when asked does the PS5 support VRR, PS5, according to Sony, does support variable refresh rate through HDMI 2.1 after a future system software update. PS5 owners will be able to use the VRR features of compatible TVs when playing games that support VRR. So this is good news. We've known all along that, that they do support this, and it's just going to be something that, we get kind of the most from, I think. Now, VRR is a technology that's already entered the console space with the Xbox One X, the Xbox Series X, and the S, completely removing screen tearing and reducing stuttering and input lag. Compared to VSync, and it's currently one of the advantages that the Xbox Series X has over the PlayStation 5. While it was baffling to see VRR not being supported on PS5 at launch, it's good to note that it's apparently coming very soon. The PlayStation 5 firmware update will introduce variable refresh rate, has yet to been dated, but everybody will know as soon as I know for sure. But it does look like this is something that's going to be coming the first part of this year, and people should be very thankful for that. So again, this is something that this is really something that a lot of people will be excited about. Basically, for gamers and the latest console, the feature could make a real difference in some of the games that you play. So I know some of you maybe don't know what it means or whatever, but again, I'm going to kind of go over it and tell you guys just really quick how this kind of works. Variable refresh rate enables a game console to send video frames as fast as it can to a display, with the screen adapting its own refresh rate in real time to match that one of the source. So basically, that's what it is. This is how a game console renders a frame, sends it to the TV to display. If it fails to send the finished rendered frame for whatever reason, the console will either hold the current frame or send the next frame to keep things moving along. Giving the frame rate output of a console can vary depending on the complexity of what it's doing. If the process starts to chug, the result can be a rather jumbled up looking image and unfavorable response time. In essence, what VRR does is allow the two devices to talk to each other more effectively and be in sync with one another. Issues that crop up when the devices are out of sync are lag, slower response time, judder, which is a stuttering visual effect, and screen tearing, which I'm sure a lot of you guys have experienced some screen tearing at various times and things like that, in which parts of the image of the screen show visible creases or tears. By matching the refresh rate of the source device itself and the display, lag is reduced for faster response times, motion is smoothed out, and screen tearing is reduced, if not outright eliminated, as the console will wait before it sends the next frame and display will adapt to match it. The result is a better image quality and a smoother, more consistent performance. So again, this is really, really cool stuff, and believe it or not, Microsoft has been doing this for quite some time already, since like 2017 with the Xbox One X. So something that very few people could actually take advantage of. Like if one of the main problems is you need HDMI 2.1, and very few people were rocking out with TVs that could really support that. Although some people that game on monitors, like my brother, some of you guys know Hellhammer, he actually games on a monitor. He always games on a monitor, so he's been very aware of stuff like this for a while now and has taken advantage of it. So it's very cool to see that Sony will be matching that. And of course, people are going to probably just take this time to really love this feature that they didn't have on PlayStation for a while, and it'll be one less talking point or whatever. And again, this is just muddying the waters and making things even closer between Xbox and PlayStation. So yeah, it's going to be very fun to see how this kind of works out and exactly what's going to happen in the future, because it's going to always be fun to see the back and forth and the competition between these. So thank you guys very much for rocking out with me. Have a fantastic day. Like the video, share it out, rack 'em up, fact 'em up, crap gamer 'em up. Crap Gamer out.